Hi folks, and welcome to my kitchen. And today we're having an American goulash or Canadian goulash or North American goulash, which is different from the Hungarian goulash. What you'd find in a Hungarian goulash, what you see in there is ground beef and a few vegetables. I've got some red peppers that are going to cook up nice in there, and there'll be some tomatoes added as well. But a Hungarian goulash is more of a gravy sauce and a lot more vegetables and some different herb structure there. So what you see in there too, we're here at the end of the summer, so that's fresh garden herbs, and it's fresh garden tomatoes that went in there a little bit earlier with the beef, and you can hear the beef's really starting to sizzle up. So I'm going to give that a stir. We're going to add in a pasta. Now, stir the pasta in this same pot. The pasta is just sitting off the side with a little bit of olive oil on it. And then we're going to add a little bit of pre-made sauce. You don't have to use pre-made sauce. If you want to add extra tomatoes, that's fine. Make a sauce yourself. Some people don't add any at all. Some people add a can of tomato soup. We also threw in there for herbs a little Italian seasoning. I use dehydrated onions because we've got some people in this house that aren't a fan of onion texture but love onion flavor. And then we'll put some cheese on top of that shortly. But we love that sizzling sound of the beef, so we're going to sizzle and stir that up here in a second. And then we're going to add the pasta. And then we're going to add in a can of diced tomatoes just to finish off the tomato flavors with a little bit of sauce. And it's all good. So here we go. I'm going to put you down there. Enough sticking your head in the pot. That must get a little intimidating after a while. And we're going to stir in the meat now. I usually don't use a wooden bamboo with meat, but where it's almost cooked, I'm not too worried about that at this stage here. Now, with chicken, it's a whole different thing. Now, if you can do a chicken goulash like this, and actually I do recommend you trying a little ground chicken or ground turkey for your goulash as opposed to beef. It's a little more environmentally friendly for one, but also it can be a little lighter for those that find beef a little heavy, or if you've just been having beef all the time. And I find we get into a bit of a routine where we'll have hamburgers one day, spaghetti the next, and something like a goulash, and soon it's a week of ground beef, and one, your stock of ground beef is gone, and two, you're so tired of it. So, mix it up with some other grounds, some ground pork, some ground chicken, some ground turkey. I really recommend that the chicken and the turkey, they make good meatballs. You can do a neat chili with them, a nice variant. Do want to speak highly, though, for the beef we have in here today. This comes to me from Shipyard Farms, which is a farmer here, in Bass River County. So I want you to... Bass River, Kent County, and I want you to check them out sometime if you're in that area. Terrific product, and they make it out to farmers markets, and they really are caring about their community and are trying to contribute back in some very good ecological ways, but certainly in some good local economy ways. So just a shout out to Shipyard Farms. Next, I'm putting in the can of tomatoes. Now, the other thing you can throw in here, if you have them in stock, and we're about to put them in stock, the tomatoes in the garden are just about ripe. We're just going to take those tomatoes, we're going to slice off the top and the bottom, put them in a freezer bag, and put them in the freezer. That's all there is to canning tomatoes. Put those in there, freeze them up, and then you have them all through the year for a nice fresh tasting spaghetti sauce base, same as diced tomatoes. You want them as ripe as you can coming out of the garden. So we're not quite there. So I said, oh, you know what? We've got extra cans of tomatoes, and I want this to be quick. So there we go. That's in. All right. So the meat's nice and cooked. The tomatoes go in, and you can hear the sizzle just go down on this. All right. Still, it's all one pot. One pot to clean. One pot to... all right. One pot to clean. And one pot for flavor. And the one pot for flavor is the main reason I do this. A lot of people never think of this, but if you can, as much as you can, do things in one pot, you're going to get a compounding of flavor that's just going to build and build and build. Now, all right. Now that the pasta's in there, I do something fun at this point. You can do this really at any point. Some people do it in the cook of the meat. But that is, and if you have sugar issues, don't do this. But I like to put in about 2 tablespoons worth of brown sugar making sure that it's spread out through and through. And then a little bit of fresh black pepper. And I put that in. I usually put that in with the pasta because I like when the pepper sticks to the pasta. Not just a little pepper. There's Italian seasoning in there. There's fresh herbs from the garden. The fresh herbs are basil and oregano and chives and green onion. And that is really going to punch up the color in this, because otherwise it's just going to be sort of your red, with the red pepper that's in there and the tomato. But it's sure looking nice. I'm going to turn the heat down. You want the heat, now that you're getting all these ingredients in there, you want the heat down around a low. All right. Okay. Last thing I'm going to put in there. Now, if you've already got a spaghetti sauce made and you make your own spaghetti sauce, it's a great thing to add now. This is a 99-cent can of spaghetti sauce, which is great. You can get this at most grocery stores if you watch the sale. Some people use, like I said, tomato soup. Works good too. But I like the extra seasoning that's in something like that. If you are watching your sugar, though, that's another thing you can avoid and replace. Just go with a tomato paste and build it up from there with what you can handle. But we can handle, I've got 4 boys, 10 and under, so I think we can handle a bit of sugar in this household. And I'm probably getting myself in trouble for putting in as much as I did, but maybe if I have some, I'll be able to keep up with them. All right, so 1 pot goulash, last ingredient. I turn off the heat for this. Last ingredient is cheese. Now, if you want to, highly recommend, if you have the right pot for it too, if you want to do all this in the kind of pot you can go place in the oven and have a cheese layer on the top, that's great. But before you put that cheese layer on the top, you really ought to put cheese all the way through it. And what I might do with this, because I have to run out and get the boys here, what I might do with this is, after I've mixed that cheddar in, so I've got a mix of cheddar and mozzarella here. All right, after I've mixed that right in to the goulash proper, and I like a good cheesy goulash, we'll just level it out on the top. I'll show you what that looks like right now, because you're missing all the fun of that. Isn't that neat? All like that on the top. Level it out, and then just sprinkle that cheese, spread it out. And it clumped up a little bit in the grater. That happens, but just spread it out like that. There we go. And just have that on top. And I don't want too much on top, because then it gets all goopy on the top, and then there's no cheese all throughout. So a nice thin layer of cheese on the top, a treat at the beginning. And there we go. So that's it. 1 pot goulash. Now I know it looks pretty rustic there, but when that melts to a nice, perfect flavor, I'm just going to put the cover on there, turn the heat off, leave it there. When I come back, I'm going to throw it in the oven on a broiler. I'll probably take some pictures and post that afterwards. Enjoy.